Hello everyone, welcome to Mascot Concepts, the series where I create mascots for teams that don't have one. Today for the Season 2 finale and Episode 9, I will be moving away from the MLB and going to the NHL, where I will be creating mascots for the team known as the New York Rangers. The Rangers is one out of the two teams in the NHL that doesn't have a mascot, but that's going to change today as I've created 3 different concepts for a Rangers mascot. So without further ado, let's get started. Before I share my first mascot concept, I should explain how I come up with mascots for teams that don't have one. I usually think of the team itself. For example, I think back to their history, and do a little bit of research into what would represent them best. I also think of where they play at, that being the state or city, as well as merchandise, since some of these teams use a fake mascot in some merchandise. So with all that information out of the way, here's the first mascot concept for the New York Rangers. So the first mascot concept I've created is already somewhat associated with the team, that being the Statue of Liberty. Now what does the Statue of Liberty have to do with the Rangers? Well, New York, of course. It's one of the many icons that represents New York. So since it's already representing New York, it could also represent the Rangers very well. Not to mention the Rangers have a ton of merchandise of Lady Liberty, and she's even on their alternative jerseys. So with all that out of the way, here's the first design. This is my design of the Rangers Statue of Liberty mascot, and as for a name, what better than Lady Liberty? As you can see, she has a somewhat realistic design. And yes, I'm aware it's kind of uncanny, but that's because I'm not good at drawing human faces. And yes, her entire head is the same green color, but that matches the original statue. She has everything the original statue has, the crown, the hairstyle, and the torch she's holding, which has flames colored like the Rangers' colors. And of course, I won't talk too much about the uniform, as it's just the normal Rangers uniform, but she does have a red, white, and blue dress with normal black hockey shoes on. Overall, this is definitely the best choice for the Rangers mascot. I mean, she's already used by the team unofficially, so why not make her the official mascot? Also, on a side note, this mascot could be the one to break the gender barrier in terms of sports mascots. You see, out of the 4 professional sports leagues, none of them have a female mascot. And I'm not talking about the person inside the costume, I'm referring to the character. The only female mascots really are only side characters, and are sometimes never brought out. So why not have an opportunity to introduce a female mascot for one of the most famous teams in the US? But now let's say the Rangers want a different mascot that isn't something like the Statue of Liberty. Well, here's a strange choice. The second mascot I created is a very, very weird choice, but there's one reason I chose it, that being a rabbit. Now what does a rabbit have to do with the Rangers? Well, nothing really, other than the fact I found this Rangers rabbit drawing on DeviantArt, credit to the original artist in the description, and this photo of the Easter Bunny in a Rangers outfit. Also, I read somewhere that New York has a rabbit problem, and I thought that was pretty funny. But with all that out of the way, here's the design. This is my design of a Rangers rabbit mascot, and as for a name, I'm going to use the name that the original DeviantArt design used, that being Buck. So even though this design of Buck is largely the same, I did change a few things, like the color being darker, the hands being larger, and the feet being smaller. I also added black tips on his ears, and he has black around both of his eyes instead of only one. He definitely gives off Bugs Bunny vibes. Maybe they could be related. Overall, this is an interesting choice for the Rangers mascot, but I do still like it. Rabbits don't really get used by major sports teams as much nowadays. Back in the 2000s, the Houston Astros had a rabbit named Junction Jack, and the Philadelphia 76ers had Hip Hop, but those two are long gone, so why not bring rabbits back as pro sports team mascots? But now let's say the Rangers don't want a rabbit mascot. Well, that leads to my next mascot concept, The last mascot I created is a pretty weird choice, but when I explain it, it'll make a little bit more sense. That being a beaver. Now what does a beaver have to do with the Rangers? Well, nothing related to the team, but the beaver is actually the state mammal of New York. And it would make total sense to use a state symbol as a mascot. I mean, that's what Florida did. So with all that out of the way, here's the design. Here's the design for the beaver. He doesn't have a name, so as always, you guys come up with a name in the comment section below. There's really nothing too noteworthy about his design. It's really just a beaver wearing a Rangers uniform. He's got the buck teeth, whiskers, and black hands. He's also got a large beaver tail and a large blue hockey helmet on his head. I was actually going to take a chunk out of his teeth, but I decided not to. Obviously, he's got a Rangers outfit on, but he's also the only one of these characters that wears the Red Ranger shorts. But just like Lady Liberty, he's got regular black hockey shoes. Overall, a beaver is a great choice for the Rangers mascot considering what he's based off of. Beavers are such fascinating animals, and it's strange that they aren't used as mascots much. The only example I can find is the Oregon State mascot, Benny the Beaver. And on that note, this concludes my New York Rangers mascot concepts. And there you have it, mascot concepts for the NHL's New York Rangers. I know that some Rangers fans may not actually want a mascot, and I can respect that, but don't get mad at me, this video was just for fun. However, if anyone working for the New York Rangers is watching this, please consider getting a team mascot. It'll definitely help you. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in September for the final season of Mascot Concepts, Season 3. Bye-bye! Oh, by the way, I'm not doing a Mascot Concepts episode on the Seattle Kraken, since it's already been confirmed they're getting a mascot, and it's pretty obvious what their mascot's gonna be.